Good evening. The title of my final presentation is The Organizational Challenges of the Knights of Columbus, kind of what those challenges are, and my ideas on what they can do to overcome those challenges and to become a better organization. To start, I guess we need to kind of define who the Knights of Columbus are and what they're all about. On their webpage, the mission of the Knights of Columbus, and I quote, "We are Catholic men building a bridge back to faith. There is much good and necessary work to be done in this world, and that's what Knights do every day." With that in mind, the Knights of Columbus live on four key principles. Number one, charity. For an example, in 2016, the Knights of Columbus donated $177.5 million and over 75 plus million hours in charity. Fraternity. The Knights were founded as an all-male organization back in the day where immigrants were doing the most dangerous jobs in America. As such, it was founded by a Catholic priest, and it was to provide aid for families where the fathers and husbands had died doing the most dangerous jobs. It was a way to kind of take care of the widows and the families left behind, to provide for them both support and financially. With that in mind, the Knights do have a world-class life insurance program that is very highly rated to this day. The third core principle is unity. The Knights are both united in their mission, their community, as well as united with the principles of the Catholic Church. We have one mission and one goal, and that's to help the communities in which they live. And finally, patriotism. For the Knights of Columbus, patriotism means that they have pride in their country, but it also means that they have an obligation and a duty to participate in the political process and try to influence that according to their core beliefs. One of the issues that we find with the Knights of Columbus, they do uphold the values and the teachings of the Roman Catholic Church. Some of those teachings are not very popular today and in society in general. A couple examples of this are the stance of pro-life and also pro-traditional marriage. In today's secular society, these ideas and these values are not very popular and are kind of contrary to what society wants to teach. This obviously can present a challenge for the Knights of Columbus and their mission. Again, the challenges that I see of the Knights of Columbus as an organization, number one, the societal changes. Back when the Knights were founded, Christopher Columbus was seen in a much different light. He was seen as a hero and somebody to be revered. Today, for many people, he's not viewed this way. He's seen as somebody who enslaved the indigenous population, and his popularity has kind of waned, almost to a level of a villain. The Knights also being an all-male organization with today's Me Too movement and strive to equality between the sexes. An all-male organization is kind of viewed in a sense of skepticism. So that's another challenge which Knights have to try and overcome when it comes to fundraising and such. Just kind of that image out in society. The third is a nice view on issues such as abortion. Again, the Knights of Columbus are a very pro-life organization, and that's contrary to what many in society believe, including those in the government. And the fourth challenge that I see is that society in general has become very less religious. As you can see in the graph, there's a great decline in the last 60 years, starting in 1952 to 1962, saw an increase in religious activity, and then it has been a precipitous decline ever since then to the present. For a religious organization, this presents a lot of challenges when they're trying to put their message forth, to grow as an organization, and to thrive with their mission. With these realities in mind, the Knights are faced with challenges of maintaining and growing donations and also membership. One thing you notice about the Knights of Columbus on a local level, the membership is primarily older gentlemen. Usually they're retired, they have their kids are grown, and they have more time to dedicate to the mission, which is great. However, with the societal trend in religion in America, it's hard to find younger men that want to join the Knights of Columbus and have that connection to religion, to kind of fill those ranks, as the older generations are unfortunately dying off. Applying organizational theory and practice. In my view, the Knights of Columbus, their primary focus currently is kind of confined to the Catholic Church. They do very little outside in the communities, not so much from a charitable standpoint, but from who they are and getting their brand out there to let people know the good that the Knights of Columbus do every single day. Some of the theories that I kind of see that might work, number one, a new public administration. This, of course, the structure of the Knights of Columbus has to be at the national level to give you that guideline, and that foundation to build upon. But I do feel that the Knights at every level should be compelled to help drive policy. Not every community is the same. Each community they serve might be a little different, and the Knights in the area have a better idea of how to reach out to the community, try to increase the image of the Knights of Columbus in that community, and try to grow their ranks and the donations. By doing this also, you get the full buy-in. The local Knights feel like they're participating in something bigger than just their local council. They do play a vital role in the operations and decision-making of the organization. From the national level, they should be asked their opinions. They should be involved in the process and sit in on meetings. The other thing I see is a new democracy. Yes, it's a Catholic organization. Yes, it's primarily focused around the Catholic Church. However, in order to grow that base, in order to build a brand in the community besides through the church, it's important to have the members of the community have a say-so in what's going on. They are ultimately the stakeholders. The main mission of the organization is that charity work and bring people to the church. And if you have members of the organization that maybe not from an organizational standpoint making decisions, but what events they want to see the Knights participate in, what things do the community need help with that the Knights might be able to provide? Let them have a voice in the decision making of the organization from that standpoint. Let them be active participants in the process. They have a buy-in. They have a stake in the Knights of Columbus and will be proud to organize them and speak of their praise in the community. Kind of piggybacking on that, according to Maldonado in 2014, by being more active in the community and creating that new public administration and public democracy, the Knights will have a greater sense of social and community relevance. They'll be able to reach the important people in the communities that they serve, both on a social and economic and a cultural level. When they reach those people, when they get involved with the important people in the community, that will provide a loyal group of friends that have influence in the community and can provide contributions, both in membership and financial contributions. The way to do this is through community outreach. The Knights have to be very visible in the community. They have to go out in the communities that they serve and be branded that way. Don't shy away from the fact that they are the Knights of Columbus. Another important tool these days is through social media. The younger people use social media in much more of a way than anybody else. It's the way that they communicate these days, and the Knights of Columbus should use that to reach those young people bring them into the church and into the folds of the Knights, where we could try to get them, teach them what the Knights are all about, and get them to participate at a greater level. My plan, number one, is branding. They have to be involved in everything in the community. Any kind of important event, charity events, sponsor, be visible in the political process, be at the meetings, give your opinions to the newspaper, be present at these functions to have a voice in what's going on in the political process. They should be synonymous with community involvement. If you think community involvement, Knights of Columbus are always there. From a marketing standpoint, at the national level, the Knights of Columbus should sponsor the Super Bowl or the basketball national championship game. Put it out there besides just the Catholic Church. Let people know that the Knights are out there. Local level, sponsor a local baseball team or the local boys and girls clubs. Get involved with everything in the community so that the Knights of Columbus brand and name is everywhere in the communities that they serve. The point of doing all this, though, is ultimately education. What we want to do is change the image of the Knights in the community. We've talked about how negative that certain things that the Knights do as far as their stances on abortion, Columbus himself, an all-male organization. We need to get those captive audience so that we can educate them to the fact that they are providing $177.5 million in charity a year and over 75 million hours of charitable giving. People need to realize that. We need to turn their hearts to that so that the Knights of Columbus could try to increase their donations and be a part of society and society a part of them outside of the church as a whole. Again, if the Knights of Columbus can do this successfully, it will result in the changing of hearts and minds. It'll help the people to look more favorably on the Knights and ultimately help the Knights in their mission and to carry it on into future generations. Thank you for allowing me to present, and you have a good evening.